Okay, so right here, I'm forming a tenon. This has already been drilled out. That's why I'm using the live center to hold this in place. And you can see on here, I've got the line and the 0, and that is 14 millimeters. I'm using my 14 millimeter double start tap. I'm just measuring that without any fancy gauges. I'm just using this Harbor Freight, and you can see that's on 14. And I use this one. Now this one has a lock on it, and that's what that is measured to right there. Then now I can use my die on that to thread that, which we'll do next. Okay, so this is my 14 millimeter double start die. This has been measured down, cut down to 14 millimeters. So I'm going to put a little mineral oil on that, lubricate those threads. I got a paper towel down for some drops so it doesn't get over the motor. Lock that in place. And I'm just going to spin this chuck by hand, rotate back and forth. Oops, my sleeve is hitting that. And this works really good, this floating tailstock holder, die holder, because I can rotate this at the same time I can counter rotate this and cut twice as fast. Make sure those are clear. Rotate that out, and you can see how that's cutting. So far, so good. And just put a little more oil on that. Okay, there's part of it. Then we'll just have to do the other part next. One of the things we need to also do is on the back side of those threads, right here, it's a little high, so we need to cut that down to the low as the threads. That way it'll give your threads an out when you're putting that cap on. It'll seat securely to the back side of that. And we'll just go ahead and do that now. Looks like I can go a little lower. All right, that's good. Now I'm below the thread level. So that'll be good when we put the cap on. It'll seat all the way into the back. And you'll see what I mean when I do the cap. Okay, for the cap, I'm using a 1/2 inch brad point bit. I have a mark here that's 2 3/8 inches on my drill bit. I'm going to go down, and then that's going to allow me to use a Jawo number 6 with a 1 inch section. So I'm going to pilot bit this out first with a 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to re-drill it with the 33/64. Okay, I've got a 33/64 bit in now, and I'm just going to advance that all the way in, nice and slow. Okay, now that that hole is drilled out, I've got the double start tap and die. I forgot to mention I got that from etaps.com. It was a small group buy. It was very expensive. The other tap and die that I had made worked good, but I wanted to get on this group buy to have a real one. So it really helped everyone out in it also. And then I'm just gonna manually thread that forward, and you can see how that's going. Back that out, you can see how the threads are cutting. And then I'll just do a little more. Ordinarily, if this wasn't such, this is a 1-inch thick piece. So if this was a real thin piece, or like a 3/4 inch piece of Alumalite or a 3/4 inch piece of acrylic, I would put a hose clamp on the outside of this. Because this is so thick, I'm not going to bother. But usually I'll always pre-drill and tap first, and then I will turn off the diameter later. Now the piece that I have, I'm going to use as a mandrel, which was the piece that my friend had made, 14 that I used in the other video, double start tap, homemade one. So that one will fit right in there. And then when I flip this over to turn this, this will be my mandrel. So that threads on there quite nicely. And then I'll just flip that over, and it's already dead centered for that piece. And now that is, it's not square or anything, but I'll square it up as I turn both sides, and it's good to go. Okay, now that I've got part of my project done, anyway, back to the tap and die for the cap and the body. 14mm double start tap and die, and you can see that threads on nicely, and there's no gaps in that, and it comes apart rather quickly. If I wanted to go in faster, all I have to do is cut a little bit more off of the front, off the thread, so there's less rotations. That's how far that goes in. You can see that's threaded all the way in there. So anyway, that is it. And this is the makings of a steampunk pen. I'll probably show that later. But anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good day.